Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon to learn more about the value and importance of core curriculum. Before I turn it over to our presenters, I just want to remind you that your videos and your cameras, as well as your sound, is off. So if you have a question, please use the Q&A button to type your questions, and then the presenters will answer them as they go through their presentation. We also want to remind you to sign up for more sessions through the PACAC website. And if you want to revisit this presentation at a later date, the recording will be available on PACAC's website, and that is at www.pacac.org/virtual. All right, Brittany, feel free to share your screen.
Thanks, Lauren. All right, so thank you all for joining us. We're excited to get to chat with you today about the value and importance of a core curriculum. So I will let my colleagues introduce themselves. Ben, do you want to go first?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name is Ben Bentley. I'm an Assistant Director of Admissions at Roanoke College down in Salem, Virginia. Thanks for joining today.
Hi, everyone. My name is David Pierre, the Associate Director of Admissions at St. John's University, located in New York.
Awesome. And I'm Brittany Grayson, one of the Associate Directors at Ursinus College in Collegeville, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. So we're, like I said, excited to get to chat with you today. What we're going to do is just give kind of an overview of each of our schools and in relation to what our core curriculum looks like and kind of the benefits and strengths of being at a college that has a core curriculum and kind of some of the differences of them. And then we'll take some questions at the end. Like Lauren said, feel free to drop them in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. So I will let Ben kick it off.
Awesome. Thanks, Brittany. As I said, I'm Ben Bentley from Roanoke College. We are down in Salem, Virginia, so it is about 6-ish hours from, well, depending on where you're from in Pennsylvania. But we are a small private residential liberal arts school, 4-year residential, meaning that you are guaranteed housing for all 4 years. And go to the next slide so you can kind of see just some quick demographic stuff about our students. So 39 states, 31 countries, just over 2,000 students. So very small in that size, but it does mean you're getting a lot of that one-on-one interaction with professors and being taught by the top people in their field. Now I'm going to move to the next one to mostly talk about our core curriculum, since that is really the main thing that we are talking about here today. And every college has a unique core curriculum. Everyone's a little different. So what's special about Roanoke's core curriculum is that it's a topics-based core curriculum. So every single level of the program has some kind of underlying skill or knowledge base that we want you to gain. However, we want you to be able to pick the subject material that it is about. So the intellectual inquiry is the name of the program. The 110, which is the first one every single first-year student takes at Roanoke, has about 30 different options for that course. Now, the underlying skill is let's grow you as a writer, because you're going to do a lot of writing throughout your time at college. But giving you the option of 30 different courses with different subject material, everything from Life in the Ancient City, which is an art history-based course, to Ghost Adventures, which is a communications-based course, gives you a lot of choice in tailoring your curriculum to about things that interest you. It also gives you the ability to take something that might be a little scary or just something you're not good at. I'm not a good chemistry student at all. However, I was a criminal justice major when I was a student, so chemistry and crime fit me perfectly because it took something that I was not good at, chemistry, and it put it within my realm of knowledge, which was criminal justice. So turned into one of my favorite courses while I was there, and it really helped me tailor that curriculum to what I was studying and what I was looking at throughout all of my other courses during my time at Roanoke. Next one, I work with all of our students from Pennsylvania. I know that was a quick overview of what the intellectual inquiry program is, and that's just one kind of core curriculum. I know Brittany and David are going to talk about kind of their schools' curriculums as a whole, but I'll pass it off to David. Are you next?
There you go. I am next. Thank you. And so I'm from St. John's University, and a little different than Roanoke, we are a little bit of a larger institution. Total undergraduate enrollment at St. John's is approximately 17,000 students. We happen to be the nation's second largest Catholic institution, right behind our sister school, DePaul. So you can go to the next slide, Brittany, thank you. So we have multiple campuses. Our main campus is going to be Queens, which offers all of our degree programs, sports, and pretty much all the clubs that St. John's would have. We also have 2 satellite campuses through the 5 boroughs, so one in Staten Island, New York, and one in Manhattan. The Rome, Paris, and Limerick are going to be our study abroad locations. So you cannot technically start at those different campuses, but you can take core classes while abroad, depending on your major of interest. So if we go on to the next slide, we break down our students based on the college, or say the major of interest, which will then fall into the college that you would belong to. So we have 5 academic schools, which have very different focuses here at the university. So we have our pharmacy school, which houses our PharmD program, which happens to be the most popular program that we offer. Then we have our Collins College of Professional Studies, which is more so a more non-traditional college, such as majors such as like criminal justice or sports management and things like that. We also have our liberal arts and sciences school, which is more of your traditional majors like bio, English, history, government, psychology, School of Ed, and in our School of Business. So how is it that all of these students will take a common core, right? Next slide. So here at St. John's, we have approximately 30 credits that is required for all of our majors, regardless of whatever degree program you are looking to take. Everyone has to take these courses. This is great for students who are undecided, because if you're truly undecided and you're not sure of the degree plan that you're interested in, you can pretty much stick to these core classes and still have an on-time graduation, because eventually when you do choose the major that interests you, all of these core classes will move with you. Also, if you are certain of the major that you're interested in and you've taken AP courses or dual enrollment courses, 9 out of 10 times those courses will count towards these 30 credits, these 30 Common Core credits. Since we are a Catholic institution, we are very heavy on the theology and philosophy. So there are a total of 9 credits between the 2 different disciplines that's required for all of our students to complete their degree program here. But this is kind of a snapshot of our core course catalog. We have other distributed core classes that relate more to your college, but I'm not going to jump into that because then we'll open up a whole different can of worms on that one. But this is the standard university core that all students will need to take in order to complete their degree. And that's, I think, it for me. Or do I have another slide? Sorry.
No, that was it.
All right, passing it on to Brittany.
So like I said, I'm Brittany Grayson, one of the Associate Directors of Admission at Ursinus College. So you've heard a little bit from each of my colleagues kind of about their institutions. We are also a small private liberal arts college. We have about 1,500 students coming from a huge variety of different states across the country, as well as 22 different countries. We're also one of the 44 colleges that change lives, which is a great designation for us. And I think that you'll kind of see that within our core curriculum and how we really provide a transformational experience for our students throughout their 4 years at Ursinus. Like I mentioned, we're in Collegeville. We're about 25 miles outside the city of Philadelphia, so very residential, but still really great, easy access to the city. And then we are a Division III school for athletics as well. We do have fairly small class sizes because we are such a small institution. Most of our class sizes are about 15 to 20 students in them. So you really get to know your faculty really well, build relationships with them. We have about 60 areas of study. You'll see kind of our top programs there. But like Dave mentioned, you know, no matter what your major is, you're all going to take some of the same courses that are requirements in order to graduate from Ursinus. So one thing is our common intellectual experience, which I'll kind of talk about in a second, but that's your first introduction to the core here at Ursinus. And then we also actually require all of our students to do an independent learning project, which counts for experiential learning. And you're able to do a number of different things that fulfill that requirement. So students can either study abroad, have an internship, do research, a creative project, global civic engagement, or student teach to be able to fulfill that requirement. So it's really taking what students are doing inside the classroom and being able to put it to the test outside of the classroom to kind of get that real world hands-on experience. So like I said, the CIE is the introduction to the core. So it is similar to kind of what Ben talked about a little bit in a couple of ways, in that there are kind of 2 intro courses you take both semesters of your first year at Ursinus. All of the courses are capped at about 17 students, and about 80% of our faculty teach it. So you might have a dance professor or you might have a computer science professor. It kind of just depends on who's teaching that year. So CIE is very heavily reading and kind of a philosophical book club, if you will. So students start off by reading some different works by Socrates, from Plato, a number of different kind of genres, and work all the way through Charles Darwin and the new Jim Crow laws in their second semester. But the course is really discussion driven and really kind of put together to have students kind of ask themselves these 4 questions. So what should matter to me? How should we live together? How can we understand the world? And what will I do? So these questions are very large, very broad, liberal artsy, but we really want to encourage students to think about how they grew up and their family values and how that shapes how they answer these questions, and how does that differ from the students sitting next to them, and where they grew up, and how do they answer those questions, as well as how the people within the text that they're reading answer these questions. So it's really interesting, really discussion driven. What I think is really cool is that the rest of our core curriculum follows these 4 questions. So you might take a humanities course kind of relating to the topic of immigration, and maybe that ties together with the question of how should we live together. So you really kind of get a sense of how important these questions are to the Ursinus College experience, and how they're woven not just through our core, but also through different kind of off-campus experiences as well, and outside the classroom. So our residence life office utilizes these questions, as well as some of our different centers on campus. We have a couple of different academic centers. One of them is the Melrose Center for Global Civic Engagement, and they bring in a number of different speakers from across the world, actually, to kind of facilitate discussions in their subject area, but also still relating back to these questions. So I think kind of a couple of really beneficial things is that it is really broad, so it is applicable to anybody, no matter what your major is. I think the other thing too is that it really kind of forces students to think about what's important to them and what do they want their 4 years at Ursinus to look like, and how they answer these 4 questions kind of shape how they're going to continue on for 4 years. So that's just kind of a little bit of an overview. If you do have questions, again, feel free to put them in the chat. We are happy to answer any questions, and our contact information's up there for you as well. Hey, Lauren. I think you can stop the record button too, can't you?
All right, everyone, thank you for joining us. As we leave this webinar, we will be asking you to fill out a quick survey. 4-question survey will appear, so please feel free to fill that out. And again, if you want to revisit this recording, you can go to pacac.org/virtual. And once I hit end on this, the meeting shuts down. So panelists and presenters, thank you for spending a little bit of your afternoon with us, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.